Last year I, 27M, moved back in with a parent, alongside my partner. The agreement was that we do up the top floor of my parents' house and sort out the front/back garden/balcony, all of which were in a rough state. In return, my parent has refused to accept rent or money for utilities, despite our offering. Every time my parent picks us up on leaving the washing machine on with the light flashing, something they do themselves, I offer to chip in for bills, but the offer is continually refused. Obviously their house, their rules, and I can't complain. When it comes to the other conditions of our living here, we've cleared out and redecorated the top floor with our own money. I've sorted out the balcony, and I've explained that the garden requires professional assistance, large, completely overgrown to the extent that you can't get from one end to the other, and have frequently marked out days when I can work on it. But typically what happens is my parent reassigns their handymen onto jobs they want fixed, so the time I've put aside has been largely wasted. Additionally, I'll make my parents' bed for them and have been drafted in to help clean or go shopping if they're hosting a dinner party. I am still grateful to have space to ourselves and that most weeks I get a handful of days where I'm not asked to do anything for my parent. I mention all this because by living here with vague conditions that are partly out of my control, and by having rejected our offers of financial contributions, there is room for my parent to see us as freeloading, even if we are freeloading against our will. My parent is also very generous with money and gifts, none of which are asked for, but obviously even a gift freely given can invoke a debt if the gift giver views it that way. This brings us to my parent being laid up for over 2 weeks with a leg issue. This is the third time it has happened in about 4 months, and in a tall house with lots of stairs. I've had to be on hand for most of the time to do things like get my parent breakfast and water, cooking or bringing up takeaways, waking up at 5:30 a.m. to help my parent get into a friend's car to go to the hospital. Sometimes this has been inconvenient. My parent planned for a friend to come over without checking with me, on a day when I had lots of work and other commitments, but because my parent couldn't host this friend without my help, I had to rearrange a lot of my plans. Additionally, I'll check in with them once a day to see if they need shopping before going to the shops myself, but often my parent will decline the offer, only to later on ask me to go out for them. Once, at 8 p.m. after work had finished, I had to go to the shops for biscuits, despite an earlier offer when I had already planned to go out. It's rough being 27 and having to balance 2 jobs, a relationship, my own life, and care for my parent, but I'm happy to do it because they need the help and it would be churlish to deny them. That said, I have been longing for the moment when they are self-sufficient again, just so I can get from one end of the day to another with the requisite space that most of us need from our parents after 14 days of care. My parent has poor kidney function and is reluctant to take meds prescribed for their leg problem because the meds do eventually have an effect on kidney function. That said, they seem to be foregoing their meds while having no issue with drinking regularly, something they've acknowledged is a bad habit given their health issues. The doctors have said that as long as their kidney function stays at a decent level, the meds are fine, but my parent has skipped the meds and is back to needing help. Today, they invited a friend over without checking, and having expected to have a morning to myself, I ended up making tea and doing other chores. My parent also relies on me when there is another adult in the house, my partner, who could fulfill simple tasks like being around to pick up delivery food or making the odd cup of tea. The issue is twofold. I want my parent to look after themselves, cut drink in favor of meds, so that I'm not indefinitely caring for them if it can be helped, and I want them to consider my time as something worth taking into account. I have an irregular work schedule, so at any given moment I could be working with a client or planning my next meeting with a client, or getting on with freelance work, or just trying to take some space for myself. Psychologically, it feels wearing when the phone rings and I know that it's going to be a 5 to 45-minute interruption in my day, even if all I was doing was watching TV or chatting with my partner. Am I in a position to set some boundaries? If I offer to do shopping and decline the offer, don't expect me to rush out at night when you suddenly think of something you want / don't invite friends over unless you've given me enough warning to make sure it works with my schedule. Or do I suck it up and just look forward to the day when we can move out and have our lives entirely to ourselves?